Thank you. Thank you very much. Where was the lady who did that very kind introduction for me? I want to thank you wherever you are. I couldn't see you from where I was. There you are. Thank you very much. I'd like to tell you how pleased I am to be here in Maryland again. This is actually the first time that I've come back to Maryland since, I believe it was November of 1800. Now, on that earlier trip, of course, I was on my way from our home in Massachusetts to join my husband in the new federal district in Washington, or as I remember referring to it at the time, that dismal swamp, which I'm afraid it was. I have heard that it's been improved since then, but it really was quite a dismal swamp, I hate to say. For us, this was the very first year that the Congress and the new government, not the new government, but that our government was going to meet in the new federal district in Washington. So it was not quite finished. The streets were still quite unpaved, and after every rain, it just ran with mud, and you could sink up to your knees if you tried to go out in it. And I do have to commend all of you here in Maryland because your roads have been quite improved since then. Really, I've been very pleased. So amazingly for me, the president's house was not yet finished either. The plaster on the walls was still quite damp, and we had to keep about 13 fires throughout in order to keep from quite chilling and freezing in the evenings. And I remember thinking that it was a really beautiful location set with a view of the Potomac, and it was going to be a great symbol of our young nation, and it was built for ages to come, even though it might be a little bit uncomfortable for its current inhabitants. And I remember thinking even then that, in a sense, it replicated the stage that our young nation was at that time. It had a shape, it had a clear form, but still it wanted some finishing, some polishing off, as it were. And I was thinking as I traveled here to Maryland to think about the theme that you've taken up this week in these discussions of creating a new nation. And I realized that, of course, as a mother, I know a good deal about creating new life because I have had several children myself, and I know about the terrible fear involved and the tremendous hope for the future of this young life, and the searing pain of the delivery, and then the tremendous elation when you're past the dangerous point. And of course, we went through all of those things in creating this new nation too. But of course, to birth a child, it takes only 9 months. But to create our nation, well more than 20 years. Now, since my husband lost that election in 1800 to our good friend Jefferson, I'm sure most of you are just big devotees of our friend Jefferson, the so-called man of the people. But anyway, we won't talk too much about that election. It's still a little bit of a sore point. But anyway, since he lost that election in 1800, we did travel back to our farm in Quincy, where my husband is now retired from active political life. But still, we find people make journeys to come and talk to us, particularly bringing some of their young people with them, because we find that even now there's a new generation growing up that really doesn't remember what we went through in creating this nation. And they're very curious, and they say to us, "Tell us about the revolution. What was it like? How did we live through such times?" And it's difficult. It's very hard to paint a clear picture of those confusing times. Now, I see a few young people here, right here. How old are you, dear, just out of curiosity? 9? You're 9 years old, and you, are you about 10? 13? Well, when I was about your age, 9, 10, 13, that was in the 1750s. I was, as were we all, loyal British subjects, proud to be one. We celebrated the King's birthday every year. We had no idea the whole world was about to turn upside down, and we would be in the center of it. But you see, that's the thing about a revolution. You don't really see it at the beginning. You just go into it step by step. And of course, you have no idea how it will all turn out at the end. And of course, when this all started happening, when these conflicts began to arise between our colonies and our mother country, England, in the 1760s, over these questions of taxation and lack of representation and so on, well, I was so preoccupied with other things, I had very little time to think about these political matters. I married Mr. Adams in the year 1764. I was 20 years old, and he was a young, ambitious lawyer from the next door town of Braintree, Massachusetts, and we moved right into the farm he had inherited from his father. And right away, we began our family. In fact, I had 4 children in the first 5 years of marriage. So parents, especially mothers, I'm sure you can understand, I didn't have too much time to be thinking about matters of politics. And even if I had, in those days, politics was considered outside of a woman's sphere.